Welcome to the Good Days Academy podcast. I'm Maria, a virtual assistant, project manager, and social media manager, here to help you launch and scale that VA business you've been dreaming to have. If you're ready for expert advice on virtual assistant services, marketing, productivity, and work-life balance, you are in the right place. Let's create brighter days together, one episode at a time. Hola, amigas. Welcome to the Good Days Academy podcast. I'm so excited because today I have the incredible Vivian from Virtual Vivian joining me. She's helped hundreds of people create online businesses, and she was the one who inspired me to start my own VABs. Welcome, Vivian.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited and so honored to be your first guest on the podcast. This is I'm so proud. I'm like having a proud mom moment here.
Oh,
But
no.
yes.
This is so exciting. Honestly, because I can still remember, like it was yesterday, when all of your TikToks videos were just like popping up my For You page. And now it's kind of crazy that I'm here talking to you. So
Yes,
this is
I know.
really exciting.
No, trust me, to in my end, it also feels kind of crazy that I'm like in this podcast and I've been in other podcasts as well, and everything popped up so
Yes.
much. And it's like I was just trying to make videos to share kind of my life, and it just grew into what it is now. So it's pretty crazy on this end too.
There is so many people now that they have the courage to start something because of those silly videos that you decided to
Yes,
post. So
exactly.
you
Yeah.
should be very proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with the tea because I know that a lot of people want chisme, including me.
Yeah.
So before we actually talk about virtual assistants and your journey and how you started, I want to know who the Vivian was before becoming virtual Vivian.
Oh, I was the good girl, I was always the good girl. I went to school, I did all the right things. I went to college, got my degree, and I was basically doing what you're supposed to do, like your life path of going to school, getting your degree, and going to work. So I worked in different kind of fields and positions after I graduated, mostly all in kind of corporate administration, business, marketing. And I think I had 4 different positions all in, like, that area of either admin or sales coordinator or business analyst, and I was basically doing that when I started freelancing. So it was kind of like a seamless transition into virtual assistant because it's pretty similar, but not really because it's also so different. But, yeah, I was just like your regular, desk girl, just working your 9 to 5, nothing special.
Yeah, I bet. And I feel like that's so common to have like so many different jobs, especially when you just graduate. It's like, what do I even want to do? And you just like tried a bunch of things and just like trying to discover what you like.
Well, you know what? And that's so funny that you mentioned that because that's literally the reason why I knew that that wasn't for me because I kept switching. Like, I thought, okay, well, I kind of excelled at this role of just, being an assistant, like sales coordinator or whatever. Let's move on to the next thing because this isn't really fulfilling. This is boring. Like, I'm not really, you know, this isn't what I'm meant to do for the rest of my life. Let's see what else is out there. So I moved on to the next position and then the next one and then the next one. I could never find, one that was like my passion and where I thought, yes, I could do this for the next basically 40 years of your life. So that's when I started looking around because I thought there definitely needs to be something else, right? So yeah, at the beginning you're just like jumping around trying to find your place, I guess.
Okay, I think that's very interesting because I want to know now. I want to know what was the breaking point? Like, okay, you mentioned that thing of like, I don't like any of this, but when did you decide, okay, I'm gonna just like do this on my own because I don't like any of this? How do you even like discovered the term of virtual assistance?
Well, it's funny because I didn't set out to like, oh, I want to replace my 9 to 5. I just wanted to quit and leave. Like the only thing that I ever wanted to do was like travel the world, right? Because, whatever, eat, pray, love. I just wanted to travel the world, right? And i- naturally, the question came of, well, how am I going to afford that? Because the only thing that I know is just having a regular job. Like my parents had regular jobs, their parents had regular jobs. Everybody that I know has regular jobs. Everybody works a 9 to 5, right? So I was just every lunch hour, I would sit in my cubicle and while eating my Tupperware lunch, literally read travel blogs of people who were living my life, like out there traveling. They quit their jobs, they either saved money or they were doing something online. And a lot of them freelanced as blog writers or, a bunch of random things. And that's when I started learning about the freelance world. And this was back in 2016, where it wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
as
A
popular as it is
thing.
now. Yeah.
Yes.
But there wasn't like one particular thing, like one particular breaking point where I was like, okay, this is it. It was 4 years of consistent disappointments of like so many little things that would happen that would show me that, I could do something better than this. Or just basically this isn't meant for me because I don't want to also like, put down anybody who's into corporate or into 9 to 5 and that stability. I totally get it. It just wasn't for me, and I know that it isn't for many other people as well. So, yeah, it wasn't like one particular breaking point, but there was that moment where I was like, "Okay, this is kinda working out for me," because I was doing it on the side a little bit, and I just decided to quit and literally go traveling. So that was,
That's so fun.
yeah, nerve-wracking. Oh my god, I was literally shaking. My hands were shaking when I was handing my 2 week notice. And, like,
Girl,
my hands, my voice when I was telling my manager, I quit sort of. Oh, it was like I didn't know what I was doing. I was, literally freaking out inside, and I freaked out for a month after too, because I was like, "What the hell am I doing? Seriously." But
honestly, only a month. I think it would take me a while to be like, okay, I quit my job.
yeah, I mean, you would think so, but because we left, like, we started traveling at, like, a month into it, I was somewhere in France, I don't know. It kinda went away. Like, all the worries in the world once you're sitting at the foot of the Eiffel Tower eating
Yeah,
the sandwich that you bought from, like, a street vendor there, all the problems dissipate and you're like, "Eh, this isn't so bad." Worst case scenario is I go back home, I take up another job if, this doesn't work
exactly.
out for me. But, yeah, I mean, like, it took me a month before the existential dread kind of died down a little.
Honestly, yeah, there's always a solution. But I think that's tip number one for
Mhm.
when you are ready. Make sure
Yes.
you go travel. You have a lot of things planned so you don't overthink it because I think that's what it is. You're just gonna start overthinking and be like, "Oh my god, was this the right decision?" Yes, girl,
Yeah.
that's gonna be the right decision. I'm
Well,
not there. I'm not there
it's always
yet, but
yeah, it's always important to have sort of your contingency plan because that takes you out of that, um, like, emergency response. I don't know how to
yeah.
explain this. So, when you don't have any plans and you have that pressure to make this work, it's gonna make
Mhm.
it a lot harder for you to actually make it work because you're like, "Oh my god, if I don't make it work, I'm screwed," right? If you have that contingency plan, it kind of takes you out of that energy and you can just have fun with it and actually, enjoy the process. And funnily enough, it works out even better for you when, you have those plan Bs in place. A lot of people say, don't have a plan B, just plan A or nothing. And I'm like, well, no, if you
No.
if you don't want to like completely overwhelm yourself, it's nice having a little plan B. So you can
Yeah,
just easy that. If it doesn't work out, I can do something else, right?
definitely. I think the best thing we can do is just, like, have options. Even if you don't wanna call it as, like, plan A, B, whatever. Just make sure you have options in case.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And in my case, like I've always been like very conservative in terms of basically that. So I quit my job before I was really like ready or, you know, making like a full-time income. And I was like, yeah, this is like basically replace my 9 to 5 income. But I had, like, a
Mhm.
healthy savings account. I had, like,
Yeah.
my financial, budget in place for going traveling. I had, researched all of it. I knew that I could get another, similar job to what I had now,
Yeah.
if it didn't work out. And I had proved to myself that just doing it, winging it and doing it on the side, I was making, like, a pretty decent income. So, like the odds were in my favor there, but I had, my other plans just in case.
Exactly, as it should be. Yeah, take the decision, but make sure that everything else, it's in
Yeah,
place.
it's in place just in
Yeah.
case, right?
I I'm very curious about what were like the first type of clients that you had? Like, what were the things that you were doing for them?
Yeah. So at the very, very, very beginning, when I was just kind of doing it on the side, I mentioned that I was reading travel blogs, and most of the people that I was reading about, they freelanced as writers or blog writers. So the majority of the first, like, kinda side gigs that I did, which were more short-term jobs, like one-time gigs instead of ongoing long-term clients, because short-term jobs are a lot easier to schedule around my 9 to 5, so I would do those instead of long-term clients. The majority of those were, like, writing blogs and
Oh,
things like
okay.
that. When I switched into virtual assistant, because I was like, "Okay, I think I can make more if I do something different." Because with blog writing, I don't know, you get paid by the word, and I had to write a lot in order to, make a decent income. So I thought, "Okay, if we go into virtual assisting, kind of, merge the experience that I actually have because I work in an office, then we could potentially make more." The first client that I had was actually a fashion designer in New York, and I'm in Alberta.
Ooh,
So exciting because I was like, "Oh my god, this is so
what?
fancy." Yeah.
Honestly, now that you mentioned that, like
Yeah.
all of the clients that I always got were
Mhm.
from someone somewhere else that it was not Canada. I got a client from Canada like a few months ago because they were always from the US or like
Yeah.
anywhere, but
Yeah.
where you are, which is very interesting. It's like you can literally have a client from
From
anywhere.
anywhere, yes. I mean, I've had in my whole career, I've had clients, yeah, the majority are in the US, but I mean, the majority, 70%, I would say. A few Canadian ones, a lot also from Europe and
Good. Yep.
Australia. So, y I mean, when you're freelancing online, the world is your client base,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, you could
Mhm.
work with anybody. You don't have to, be stuck in whatever location you're in. But yeah, I mean, it also depends on, I guess, the types of clients, if they are more inclined to, work with people that are not local, or, if they're online, I guess that's the main thing. Are they people that you can find online, or are they people that you find networking in local events? So it depends, I guess. But
Exactly, yeah. And also because I have a lot of social media clients, and I feel like there's people who is still a little, like, not too sure about hiring a social media assistant or, like, a virtual assistant just because they wanna have someone who come and take pictures for them.
right.
But, honestly, the majority of the clients that I had are social media clients, and it's working perfectly. Like, we
Yeah.
have a folder, so they share all the B-roll, so if
Mhm.
you are or you wanna be a social media manager, it works. Like, there are ways around to make it work, for
Yeah,
sure.
there's also, like, different type when it comes to social media management. I know that there's a range, because you
Oh, yeah.
can be just social media manager helping to do some research and posting and, all of that, all the way to someone who is actually working on strategy, so social
Yeah.
media strategy, and helps you come up with your concepts for, your marketing strategy. And then someone who's actually there on site helping you film and edit the content. So it
Yes,
depends on what the client needs, and whether or not they're going to get someone who's local versus
that's
literally
true.
anybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think that usually they do want someone who can do everything for them,
Hmm. Hmm.
but yes, I've seen that case as well, someone who just needs someone to be posting or, like, I already have everything, I just need to make the graphics, or I just need someone who is helping me with engagement, so, yeah, that's also something to keep in mind when you wanna, like, put together your services.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And keeping in mind who your client is, what they need, and also what kind of work you know how to do and like to do, right? Because
Yeah.
that's going to determine what services you want to offer. There needs to be a balance between demand and what you actually like and know how to do. Yeah.
Yes. And also something that I learned from actually your guide, because I
Mhm.
purchased, like, I don't remember the name, but it was, like,
The
the
beginner's
basic.
guide.
Yes, the
Yeah.
beginner's guide, yes. That's the one I got, and it was so helpful. I'm gonna put
Hey,
it in the show notes because it was really helpful. And I
awesome.
remember that when I was doing the thing of,
Mhm.
like, putting in the list, the things that I've done in my previous job, and something that I loved about that guide is that for my girlies who never had any experience, she adds a page of, like, things that you probably do at home for your mom, for your friends. So that's also very helpful because I also was like, okay, I do this for my family, but I never consider that I could add this as
Yeah.
a service. And so what I was gonna say is that I really like that you put there a section of like, what are the things that you would like to do, even if you don't know, you've never done it, but something you would like to do? And in there, I actually put the podcast. Like, I would like to edit podcasts, but I was like, I have no freaking idea how to do that. And just the fact that I kept that in mind when the opportunity came, I was like, yes, I'm going to do it. I was very honest with my client, though, because she asked me, the person who was editing her podcast, like, was no longer editing podcasts anymore. And I was her social media manager, so she asked me, she was like, "Can you edit my podcast?" And I was like, "Girl, I would love to. That sounds freaking amazing, but I have to be honest with you, I have no idea how to do it." And I know that this person used to do it on Premiere, and I was like, "I know some things because I remember that I had, like, a course in university or whatever, but I'm not a pro. But if you have the patience and if you wanna give me the opportunity, sure, I'm gonna try my best." So that's what we did. And honestly, the good thing also was that the person who was editing her podcast put together a tutorial for me.
Oh, nice. That's
So
also the best.
that was so helpful. I was like, you should upload this on YouTube, honestly, because it's so
Mhm.
helpful.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah. That's also very important. Like if there is something that you want to do, you would like to do and the opportunity comes, like just jump on it. Just do it.
Yeah, add it because, I mean, in my case, is obviously I've been a virtual assistant forever, but for the past few years since I started my coaching business, I've also been a client that hires
Yeah.
people, right? And a lot of the time, I've hired people who are like you, right? They say, "Well, I've never, worked in a podcast before, but I really enjoy it. Like, I really want to do that." I like those type of people because they are the ones that are actually going to make an effort in learning, in keeping up
Yes.
with what's going on, and actually enjoying what they do, so it's not gonna be, like, a hassle for them, as opposed to, someone who thinks, "Oh, this is just, like, another thing that I have to do," right?
Yes.
I've hired a few people who are kind of new in their field, and they are great because they actually love what they're doing. And I know that they were going to be great because that was me when I started. When I was writing blog posts, I don't have an English degree. Like my degree is completely unrelated to that. I haven't written blog posts before. I'm not a writer, but I loved to read blog posts and I love to write that. Like I, love blogs. So I thought I got it. I got the gist of it. I'm going to start and learn along the way. And that turned into clients that wanted help with, their websites as well as writing email copy. And I had a marketing background, so I'm like, okay, this works. So you find your groove based
Yes.
around your passions, essentially.
Oh my god, yes, that's so important. Just like tap into it. If it's something you like, just do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's more fun that way too.
Exactly, yeah. Which is also one of my favorite things about building this VA business that I actually do, like, en serio, literal, I actually
Yeah.
do what I wanna do. Because
Yeah,
in your 9 to 5, you have to do the work because you have to, because you're getting
it
paid to
is
do
good.
it.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like, I do have the last word to be like, "Okay,
Mhm.
I wanna work with this person, I wanna work on this project, I wanna do this task." Like, it's your decision. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And so you provide that as a service and it turns into, you genuinely enjoy what you do because you're only doing the things that you like to do. From a client's perspective, they're getting someone who is really into their job and they do a great job of it because of that. And they can because it's a freelancer, it's not like an employee who's hired to just do that. They can have multiple freelancers who each specialize in different things,
Yeah,
right? So I don't know, you just get a better bang up for your buck as a client too.
as a client, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk now about some like chismecito. First, I want to know about like handling difficult situations with clients. Like, what has been that one that you're like, oh my God, this is the first one that comes to my mind? And how did you handle that? And what will be like the advice that you will give someone if something similar happens to them?
Yes. I'm trying to think hard because in all of my years, 8 years, I can think of 2. One which was, yeah, a pretty bad situation, and the other one which is it's annoying, but it's not terrible. So the first one was at the very, very beginning when I was writing blogs. And I had this one person hire me to write, I don't know, like a dozen blogs. And I sent my pitch to, do the project. I read everything. They wanted 12 blogs. Sent my pitch with my prices. They came back saying, oh, and I sent all my, like little samples of work and all of that. They messaged me back saying like they really wanted to hire me. They wanted the job done within a certain amount of time, which was a very short amount of time. And if I could do it for this much instead, which was basically half my rate, right? So I was like, oh, I really wanted, right? I'm gonna do it. Big mistake. Huge. Okay. Because so many red flags that I just ignored because I just wanted the clients, right? I did the job. I wrote the blog post. It was such a short amount of time that I had to do it super fast, right? So it wasn't best quality,
Yes. Okay.
right? And it was like, they paid me like $50 for 12
Oh
blogs.
my
Just to give you an
god.
idea.
Why
Okay,
would they expect
exactly. Anyway, so I submitted it. She was unhappy, obviously, very unhappy, left me a terrible review. This was
Are
on
you
Upwork
kidding me?
when I was using Upwork. Yes. And I was like, oh my God. But thinking back at it, again, I ignored all the red flags. And that was something that I could have ignored or not ignored, but avoided because, yeah, I mean, like the red flags that were there and I took the job anyway. So it's really important to like know what those red flags are and say no to clients like that because I mean they're not looking for a great freelancer. They're not looking for quality. I mean they're looking for quality work but they don't want to pay for it, right?
No.
So you need to like avoid those type of clients because they're just going to be a waste of your time. They're going to be a waste of your money because you're losing money like if they
Yeah.
underpay you.
Energy, mental health, like you're losing everything basically.
And you could have used that time to send proposals to other, better clients and better jobs. So,
Definitely.
yeah. So that was one of them. I think that's the only one that I
Did
can think of.
you tell this person something?
Oh,
Or
when it comes to Upwork, so this was back in I don't use Upwork as much anymore because I prefer independent clients. But in Upwork, there's a feature where you can like ask for a review of their review and have it taken down if you think that it's unfair, right? And that's only available if you're like a top freelancer, which I was at the time because I had
okay,
done
a lot of
several jobs
things.
already,
Yeah.
and gotten good reviews. So they give you like a little badge saying you're awesome. Anyway, but yeah, I just submitted the request and it got taken down. But that was a great teaching, like, that was a great lesson because that's where I learned, "Okay, let's start watching for these red flags and let's not waste our time just for the sake of getting the job because it's gonna be, a pain in the butt down the line."
Yeah.
Um,
It's not
and
worth it.
yeah, and I was lucky that it was only, like, such a small, amount of money. Like, it was such a
Yeah.
small job as opposed to, like, a bigger project or a long-term client, so it was good to learn that lesson then.
I feel like those things have to happen to you in order to be able to then know what's happening,
Exactly.
like, recognize the red flags and be like, "No, thank you." It's a
Yeah,
hard
grow
no.
and build the confidence to set those boundaries for yourself.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
as soon as you set those boundaries, you're going to repel those terrible clients that are not worth your time, and you're gonna attract people who are serious business owners and actually want help in growing and scaling their business, which is what we're here to do, right? To actually,
Exactly.
get the job done. We're not messing around here, right? So
Exactly, yes.
yeah. So once you set those boundaries, you are able to, catch those red flags and say no to those type of clients right away. Things just get a lot easier. But it does take time. It takes experience to get to that point.
Yeah. Honestly, and I feel like something very important for when you start getting clients is being honest upfront. I try to be as flexible as possible, especially because I work with a lot of small business. So I know that they're also figuring things out. They're probably like in the growth phase of their business. So everything is happening like so fast. Probably that, I'm gonna be the one of the first people that they're hiring for help. So
Yeah.
I try to be understanding, but when I notice that, okay, like you're asking me too much, like this is kind of like out of scope, I try to be honest. I try to be, patient, open, and just like flag things.
You gotta keep in mind that you are also a business owner and you're dealing with clients, right? It's really important to try to get out of that mentality of being an employee and working for someone and running your own business. Even if you're a freelancer, you are technically a business owner. You're working with clients, right? And treating them like clients and portraying yourself as a business owner, not just like, oh, I'm just a little girl doing little
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Like, no, right? Right.
Yes. Even though, yes, we are just little girls, but
We're just
also,
girls, but
yeah, we are very professional.
exactly.
I'm curious to know, like, how long did it take you to match your 9 to 5 salary?
Ooh, that's a tricky question because when we started traveling, I purposely worked like less hours because I could, just because we wanted to travel a lot. Once I did decide to, okay, let's do this full time, it honestly took me like 4 months. And like
Wow.
I had matched my salary, my 9 to 5, my old 9 to 5 salary.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't working full-time hours, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I was just still, like, messing around, kind of recovering from the burnout because I
Yes.
just wanted to, like, get back to myself after, you know, all those years. And then at one point, COVID happened and we couldn't travel anymore, right? Or, like, we didn't do,
Ooh.
like, we hadn't been traveling for, like, 5 years, but we would travel on and off, we would move around, we would, take random trips. We moved to Vancouver for a while and Whistler and whatever, and then COVID happened, we couldn't travel anymore, we had to stay put, and I was like, "I wonder what would happen if I just, like, take this a little seriously and actually do full time," and that's when I got to 6 figures. I literally doubled, my 9 to
Ooh.
5 salary, so it's like,
Yes.
yeah,
Which is
so
honestly very possible. Like now that I'm only a year into this,
yeah.
and I'm like, I'm blown away, like how possible it is to make much more money than what you're doing in your 9 to 5,
Yeah.
and like how fast you can grow. Also, if you're organized and if you know what you're doing. Because as you said, we're also business owners, and I feel like it's very important to keep that in mind all the time. Like if you want this to get serious, you have to think like a business owner. You have to make like big
Yeah.
businesswoman moves as well,
Decisions, yeah.
think strategically and like make a business plan,
Again.
which takes me to how important it is to
Mm.
like actually plan how do you want to start your business
Yes.
and do things like what you offer. So
Right.
I'm just gonna leave it to you because just so you know, to give you a quick introduction, she
Mm.
has this amazing, it's a course, right? That I can call it
Yes.
a course
Yeah.
for you to start your VA business, which
Mhm.
I really wanted to do, but at the moment I didn't, being honest, I didn't have the money, which is why I paid for the beginner's guide. And
Yeah.
I just kept thinking, okay, if this is so helpful, I can't imagine what I will be doing with a course. Like it
Yeah.
just, but something that I really liked about Vivian is that she said, I'm not saying that without this course, you're not going to be able to be a VA and build your
Yeah.
business. I'm just saying that it's going to take you a bit longer because I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a roadmap. So it's going to be very easy for you to just start and grow your business. So I'm just going to leave it to you so you can share what this is about because it's an amazing course.
Yeah. So I basically wanted to create the thing that I needed when I first started and that I would have saved me so much trouble and so much headache and avoided so many, for example, the bad client, if I had known all this information beforehand. So that's what I created. It's like a bundle, how to actually build your business. So create your branding, your website, your portfolio, figuring out your niche and what kind of services you want to offer, finding clients, running the business, onboarding them, all of that, right? So like basically how to launch your virtual assistant business. And then also it has a course on the actual skills that you need or the services that I offer myself to my clients, which are very leaning towards marketing because that's my specialty. But, I mean, those are the services that I offer. Those are the services that I teach my students so that they can offer them as well. So, email marketing, social media, just virtual admin, project task management, all that jazz, online course creation and online course management, because that's a big one too. And then
Ooh.
also, yeah. So like my students can help coaches like me, right, run their online courses as well. And then other than that, I invited also tax experts, like an accountant and two
Yes,
lawyers
I
to talk
remember
about, all the legal stuff, contracts, keeping everything, legal, registering your business, dealing with taxes, bookkeeping, expenses, all that jazz, right? Because that freaked me out when I was starting. Because you are,
I
like I said, a business
know.
owner, so you have to figure all this out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's basically it. It's like my academy, and I give you all the tools, I teach you everything, and then I'm there in case you need any help, right? And then, obviously, that's a big program. For those of, for people who aren't ready, that's why I created the guide. Because it's like, okay, here's like a super digested version of all of that so you can go through it and actually gain value from it as well. It was so fun creating it because I enjoyed it so much and I had so much. When I started making videos, like back 2 years ago, right? And I was getting all these questions in my head. I thought, well, I thought that this is like pretty common sense and that most people would know. But it isn't because I didn't know that when I was first starting and I had to figure it out on my own. And at this stage, I think it's pretty common sense. But people who are starting out don't think it's common sense, right? So I thought, okay, I'll make a video about this. And then I got another question. All right, I'll make a video about that. By the end of it, I figured, oh my God, there is so much
They
that
don't
people
know.
don't know that it needs to be a full, roadmap, a full course so that they know what to do step by step. But it was so fun to create it because it was basically me putting down everything I learned over the past 7 years of being a VA and sharing it with people so that they could do what I do, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's so common for us to be like, "Oh, that's like an obvious thing," just because it has become an obvious thing for us. To me, always was kinda, like, easy to do presentation decks.
Yeah,
So in my mind, I was like, "Anyone can do
it's
this."
easy for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, this is easy for
But
everyone. This is not a thing.
mhm.
And then I came to realize when people will be like, "Oh my god, your presentation decks are so cute and so pretty, and I love them, and they're so easy to understand," and all these things. I was like, "Huh." And I actually added that as a service, and people love that. And it's such a, like, simple thing for me to do, but then I was like, "Okay." So every time that someone asks me, like, "But what can I offer?" Or just think about the things that are so obvious to you that you just don't even consider. Those are the things that you have to offer as your
Yeah.
services.
That's why you have to sit down and do that brainstorming. Like use examples of previous jobs that you've had or things that you do at home even because you're going to get a lot of ideas. Like, you start with one thing. Okay, well, I run the budget for my house and I pay the
Yeah.
credit cards and stuff. And that will get you thinking about something else. Oh, well, I also, plan the family vacations. Well, some clients need help with travel arrangements and booking, business travel and things like that. So you'll start making those connections and all of the tasks, all of the, things that you know how to do, all the skills are going to start flooding out. But you do need to take that time to sit down and do that brainstorming. It helps so much.
Okay, so if someone is like, after hearing this conversation, like they're like, okay, I really want to start this. I don't care where I'm at right now. What's like the step by step that you will recommend for them?
First of all, you need to have like something to showcase what you know how to do. So a portfolio, a very simple website, even an Instagram page where you have a few posts where you talk about what you know how to do or what type of clients you want to help. You also need to have a very clear idea of who you want to help. What type of clients do you want to work with, right? Is it coaches? Is it um, you know people with online stores, whatever. And what type of services do you want to offer them? Is it like more marketing based or is it social media or is it design? Things like that, right? So have a clear idea of who you want to help and what you want to offer, and then a place to showcase all of that. And next is thinking about how you're going to actually reach out to clients. And I always teach three, four ish different ways. Social media is a great place to network with people,
Oh, yes.
like a huge place to it. And you don't have to be a content creator. That's why I always try to tell people you don't have to be a content creator like me. You don't have to create like tons of content and try to get a ton of reach. You just need to use your page to network and engage with people and search for potential clients and, engage with their content and, start a conversation with them to drive them over to your page, which a lot of them are going to do. They're going to snoop around. I do it all the time. Look over at the page, see what they do, click the link and check out their portfolio or their website, right? That's a really great way to network with people. In-person networking or just leveraging your personal network is a huge one. I've had so many students who've gotten their first clients just by literally talking to people and introducing their new business, like just letting them know, oh, I'm a VA now and I do this, this, and that, right? And that person tells somebody else who tells somebody else and eventually it gets to the ears of a new client. And what was the other one? Freelance websites are still a really good one. Like I said, I started in Upwork, and that's really still a great way if you have a good strategy because there's a ton of competition on there. And Facebook groups is also another great way to network. But you have to have that foundation first of what do you do, who do you do it for, and where are you, showing all of this off, right? Is our website, is our portfolio, and then networking, right? Once you start there, you're gonna have a lot of questions and there's gonna be a lot of nuances and a lot of things that are gonna come up. So yeah, I mean, at that point, it's good if you can take a course or get a coach or just like do your own research if you can't do that. At this point, just you do your own research and start gathering those tools that you'll need to actually run your business. But yeah, keeping in mind that you are if you're a freelancer, you are going to be a business owner, right? It could be a simple business, like a freelancer offering services, but you are going to be a business owner running a business, and you need to get out of that employee mindset and into the entrepreneur mindset.
I feel like people don't understand how important social media is. All of the clients that I've had, they came through social media to me. I didn't even
Mm,
reach out to them.
I know, yeah.
And yeah, and the first one that I got that I'm still working with her, she found me through social media, and I didn't even have a lot of followers at the time. I had like probably 100 or less than that. So it's like that doesn't matter. Also, if you think, oh my god, I have to have 10K followers until someone is gonna be interested. No, that's not true.
And that's a big misconception, yeah, because a lot of people think that when they first find me that, I have the clients that I have and I make what I make because of my following. No, I was making what I made. I was making actually more before because I had more clients and I dropped clients so that I could start make time for coaching and to run the course. But I was making what I make before I even started these like coaching social medias, right? I had like a couple hundred followers on my Instagram, and eventually I converted that to coaching. But you don't need followers. The followers is not what's important. Is having
No.
a curated page that is basically your mini portfolio,
Yeah.
and you use that to reach out to people or to post content that attracts your ideal client.
Do you have like one advice that you want to give someone who is about to start or they're probably newbies?
Something I think the first thing that came to mind is to not be afraid to step out of your comfort zone because we're very stuck in that box of you do the commute, you work a regular job, and you think that that's the normal thing, and anything outside of that is not real, right? It's yeah, there's so many opportunities out there, and especially after COVID, when everything went remote, it has exploded. Like the freelance industry has exploded, and it's continuing to increase exponentially. There is something other than just like a regular corporate job. There's just like a regular job, and there is a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of help, and if you have the courage to just like step out of your comfort zone and try something a little different, you might surprise yourself. Because I did it just because I was desperate. I just wanted to quit my job, but like look where it ended up, right? So, I mean,
Honestly, I feel like that's what had to happen. Honestly, I did it because I was bored. I was
mhm,
really bored with life in general. I was just
yes,
like, what the hell am I doing?
right.
Because to be honest, I nothing was wrong with my job. I'm still working my 9 to 5, honestly. For some reason in life, my boss listens to this. Like, I really enjoy my job, okay? Just so you know. Um, but I was just bored with everything in life. I was just bored because I wanted more. And I feel like there is no like they could give me whatever position they wanted to give me, being the president, I don't know. That wouldn't be enough. Like I was at that point where I was like, I want something that I create with, my own terms and I do for myself. And, it just gives me that motivation of like waking up every
Yeah,
morning.
that independence, right? Or,
Yes,
that
exactly.
feeling that you're proud that you've built something of your own, or you don't have to depend
Yes.
on somebody else, or, like, I mean, for me also, like, I'm from Venezuela, and back in Venezuela
Boosters, yeah.
back in Venezuela, like, my dad worked, this corporate job, and then the whole Venezuela thing happened, and after 20 years of working there, he just lost his job, and that's it,
Yeah.
right? He
And
didn't
that's
have
it.
any
Yeah.
just lost his job, and that was like, "Oh, crap," right? Like, you can put 20 years of your life in some company, and at the end of the day, they might not, care about you, and that wasn't the only time that it happened. It's happened to other people that I've known here in Canada, because I know that Venezuela is a special case. But it's happened here in Canada to a lot of people too. Like, they've gotten laid off, they've lost their jobs. They spend so many years giving, everything to a company, and at the end of the day, it's the bottom line for them, right? Like, you're an employee and you're replaceable. So build something of your own that nobody can take away, right? Or they can, you can pivot always. At least if the worst happens, you can always pivot and,
Exactly.
you know,
You're gonna have more options because honestly, at the end of the day, like any of this is gonna give you security.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, you have your job, you have a contract, but they can also fire
Hmm.
you. I don't want anyone to be scared anyways. Like this is
Yeah,
turning very dull.
I know it is. These are all our
We're gonna
internal
die.
these thoughts coming out here, hey?
Gonna die. We're all gonna die. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
But
yeah. But
yeah, yeah,
life is short, it's funny because 'cause I'm remembering back to one of the first questions you asked me, which was what was the, like, breaking point, and I said that there wasn't a breaking point, there was a lot of little things, but
yeah.
one of the not so little things that happened is my mom got sick, like, very sick, and all I wanted to do was be there while she was doing her treatments, and it was gonna take months, and, I just wanted to, like, take care of her and do that, and it was so annoying that in order to do that, I had to, like, ask for permission, take some time off, use up all of my sick days, all of my vacation days, then take unpaid time off and all that, and I was like, especially since this is like a desk job and I could just do it, like take my laptop and, do it from somewhere else. But no, like you have to sit there at the office and whatever. And I was like, I just want the freedom to be able to, take care of her. I just need to be sitting there with her, right? And have my laptop and do my work. But I couldn't do that. So I thought, no, there must be a better way. Like, this can't be it.
To me was that I didn't get the promotion I wanted, and that made me really mad. I was like I'm gonna give myself the promotion. That's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do. And
I know.
that was okay, I'm gonna start my business because what the hell?
Yes.
I know I'm ready for this. So if you
Yeah.
are in that position, you want a promotion, you're not getting it, like just do your
Take
thing.
it. Take
Yeah,
it,
take it.
you know,
You take it.
prove
You
yourself the
take it.
promotion. It's funny that you
Exactly.
mentioned that because that was another thing that happened to me. It was either a promotion or a raise, and you basically have to, like, go above and beyond or whatever, like, doing more than
Oh,
what you're paid to do to deserve it, and it's like, well, I'm doing, my job excellent, but still it's not good enough because, they want more bang for their buck.
exactly. It's never
But,
enough.
yeah, I didn't get the promotion the one time, or one time they hired someone else to do the exact same job as me, right? I mean, I was still there, like, it was another person in the team, but they hired them to, do the exact same job. They had the same degree as me, less experience, and he was getting paid twice as much as me, and that was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, exactly.
What's
It's like,
happening? And it was just because I was too ignorant about, like, how much could I potentially make, and they were just trying to pay me they're trying to pay everyone the least amount as possible, right? But that doesn't mean that you weren't worth a higher salary, it's just what they could get away with. So I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna set my own salary from now on and just
yeah,
do my own thing," right? So, uh, yeah, there was so many things, but yeah, it's
yeah.
tricky. It's
Take it
tricky
as
out
a sign. If this is
there.
you,
Mhm.
something similar is happening to you, this is a sign. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
This was so fun. Honestly, I still have so many questions.
We'll do it again, yeah.
And I'm gonna put in the show notes all of the fun stuff, really, really helpful stuff that Vivian has from Virtual Vivian, so you
Yeah.
can start. That's also a step. That could be a step.
You can ask me questions too. I'm always answering people in my DMs or email or whatever. I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in the
Yeah.
next episode.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Good Days Academy podcast. If today's episode gave you the tools you need to grow your virtual assistant business, subscribe, leave a review, and share with others. If you need more resources, visit my Etsy shop for templates and tools, and follow me on Instagram at gooddays_VA for daily tips on entrepreneurship, marketing, and virtual assistants.